Hello and welcome to the Slingshot channel. As you surely know, I had an obsession with arrow shooters, specifically repeating crossbow, for a while now. And bang! Because they're such effective weapons. And by the way, the adder actually is now also available in the US, because Matt, good friend of mine, has actually opened up a store and he's selling them from his new company gogun.co. So I ask you to check out his website. I think he even got some discounts. Very soon you can buy the adder and also some other products like the scuba ringer directly from the US. Now, repeating crossbows are a thing. But, you know, I also always loved full auto crossbows, and I've built a few. I've actually built different sizes. I built very small ones. I made a bigger one powered by rubber bands, and I even made one using an 80-pound pistol crossbow limb. But what we haven't done so far is a full-size, full-auto crossbow using a serious full-size 150 or 170-pound crossbow limb. I started out by buying the most simple, most affordable, serious crossbow that you can find, because we want to borrow the bow limb later on. And this is it. Yes, it's a very serious crossbow. It's actually made by a reputable manufacturer from Taiwan that I also visited a while ago. And it is very basic, but well thought out and been on the market for long. So let's unbox it and assemble it. Slip off the sleeve. Okay, so this is it. Let's open it up. All right. So this is the main crossbow. It's quite heavy. And this is actually probably real wood, even though it is heavily lacquered. It's hard to say. Yeah, feels like a rifle, of course. Seems well made, if you keep in mind that this whole thing doesn't even cost 100 euros. Okay, then you got a stirrup. You got 2 arrows. That's really not enough, but better than nothing. You got a very, very inexpensive little aiming device here, which is like a small red dot maybe. I have to install it. And you got the bow limb, and as a difference to earlier models, this time it comes completely assembled with the string. So you no longer have to put on the string by yourself. That was required in the earlier versions. And of course this is much better, much more elegant now. I guess it's time to cock it. Let's do exactly that. You put it down. Let me go back a little so you can see it. Let me put it down, put the foot in the stirrup, and then you pull. This is hard. It's not easy. I have to say there is a lot of tension in this little bow here. Even though it's a very simple, lightweight crossbow, I think it has serious power. It's time to put in the first arrow. Okay, let's shoot. Take careful aim and fire. So that was high and left, but there was serious power in that shot. Yeah. Good enough for me. Now, if we want to turn this into full auto, we have to use shorter bolts, because see, the bolts will have to be stacked in a magazine, and they actually should be a little longer than the string, but they cannot reach out longer than this one here for reasons that I'm going to explain to you later. So we need to try if these very light bolts are actually shooting from this thing, or if it's breaking apart, because this is only 13 grams and the original arrows are more like 25 grams. All right, they fit. Let's see if they actually shoot. And fire. Yes, they shoot fine. I think actually they fly a lot faster than the original ones. Okay, we will test the speed. First the full-size arrow, weighing 29 grams. And I'm testing this shooting the great Epix Air Guns radar crony. so the result will pop up here on my cell phone. Alright, that was 63 meters or 205 FPS. Not bad. Now we're going to test it with the light arrow. There is 77 meters per second or 253 FPS. Not bad. So it is no doubt a fairly powerful crossbow. It takes a lot of force to cock it, but then you get really interesting speed results. And I think that turning this into a full auto is quite the challenge. So first we have to start looking for a motor. Now this isn't easy because you need a motor with a lot of torque. This means you cannot simply go out and buy like a moped motor or something, because they have the HP but they don't have the torque. So for doing something like this, you definitely need like more than 100 Newton meters of torque, which means that we are in car engine territory. But we can't really put like a 4-cylinder car engine in here. My idea is to take advantage of the huge progress people made in electric motors, specifically for e-bikes, or pedelecs as they call them here in Germany. So I've been looking for a suitable one, and I found this model here, which is a Bafang 750 watts 48 volt one, and it has 160 Newton meters of torque. That is on par with the cars like the Ford Focus in the 90 HP version. So very serious amount of torque, and I think actually not street legal here in Germany, but a lot of people just simply don't care. So I bought one of these motors together with a battery and got to work. So did I manage to make a full auto crossbow from it? I think so. Let me show you what I came up with. Meet the e-bike engine powered full auto full size crossbow machine gun. Let me show you its features. So much fun. Isn't it great? I love it. And let me show you its features. So this is the engine side of the whole thing. This actually is the Bafang motor that I attached with a wooden frame here. But I had to use M10 bolts to really apply it solidly to this here, otherwise it would not work. As you see, it's this same throwing arm that I used for the full-size crossbow. The only thing is I ran out of strings, so I'm using a paracord string. I don't think it makes much difference, except that of course it will break at some point, but then paracord isn't very expensive. And you can remove the battery, of course, if you unlock it. Means that you can just take it out like so, and then connect it to the power supply that they give you and recharge it. And actually there's plenty of capacity in it. Well, that is an easy thing to do. As you see, I had to wire it up. There's a million connections that I don't need, like speed control and so on, because I just go for the raw power of this engine here. The whole concept is actually fairly simple. You see, you have this wheel that is attached instead of the chain sprocket of the original e-bike. And you see that there are teeth only at this side. And then you got this rod here that also has teeth. And this means what happens is when it turns, it shifts this back, cocking the weapon until it locks into the trigger steer mechanism. And then it continues to turn, and then this trigger here actually will be fired automatically as the wheel passes, like so. Clang! And then here it will catch the sled and the whole action repeats. Here you see the stacked magazine, and I can fit about 35 to 40 bolts in here, more bolts than I have currently, so I can never shoot it at full capacity before I buy new bolts. Now you can see that I mounted this on a swivel. This means that I can move it freely in every direction, just like any good machine gun should. So I mounted all the important stuff here. I can switch on the whole thing here. It says welcome and it boots. And now it's online. As you see, I have a full cockpit now. And I use these two Vickers or Maxim style handles here. And this here is the thumb accelerator that you use on the e-bike to really, just use it in a moped way. So you don't have to really spin by yourself. You simply can use this here and just use this as a little gas control. And here, of course, you can use it with both hands, both fingers. And at any time when you press it, you shoot. So how heavy it is? I would guess a good 20 kilos. Well, try to imagine lifting up your e-bike and then taking it and shooting with it full auto. So that's about the same issue here. Yeah, I mean, in theory, you can fire it from your arms, but it is actually, I think, very awkward. And actually, you can probably even injure yourself. So this is a fixed-mounted machine gun now. Okay, we know it has the firing rate. We know it has the draw weight, but does it have the penetration? So, only one way to find out. Ballistic gelatin with built-in coconut. Okay, let's have a go. You aim with it with like with a garden hose, Oh, that was too high. Not bad. So as you see, the first hits have been high, and they've been shooting through this steel board here. Actually, the bolts suffered a little bit from this, but they actually punched through the steel sheet. And these here definitely went through the coconut. This one actually only kind of scratched the coconut, but these three shots here fully entered the coconut and destroyed the Corona zombie's brain. That happens when you use an e-bike engine and turn it into a deadly machine.
Jörg, what is best in life?
To take a peaceful object, convert it into a deadly weapon of mass destruction, and then hear the lamentation of the do-gooders.
Yes, Jörg, that is best in life.
Okay, as usual, a few questions and answers. Question 1, why not making another set of wheels here and shoot two at the same time? Well, because it's mechanically way too complex. This is already a beast and it's very, very heavy. If you make another one, then the complexity just has no end. So this is not for me. This is probably as far as I can go with wood. Second, why not attaching pedals and making like a real e-bike control thing out of it? Well, I hate bikes. I hate manual bikes. I hate pedaling. I had to do this way too much as a boy, and we lived in a really, really hilly area. I don't want to do it again. So for me, it's all e-powered or nothing. Of course, that is perfectly viable, but it is hard. I mean, I can tell you the 750 watt motor can I think, pedal a lot harder than any human being on the planet. I think even top athletes can do maybe 250 watts or something. So this is a beast. How long does the battery last? Actually, I don't know. It's still on the first filling and it's not even half empty. So I think it has a lot of shots. These battery technology guys are so cool. I mean, what they have achieved within a couple of years, it's just amazing. I'm really astounded by it. Good for us. I can now also explain to you why I can't use longer bolts. The reason is that, you see, I need the room underneath here for the entire engine and for, the entire gear set and so on. So that I can do. And the arrows are stacked in here. And they need to pass the bow arm itself. Because the bow arm in this case needs to be mounted above and not below the shooting line. Since otherwise it would be in the way of the gear set here. So this means that the maximum length of the bolt is actually about this here. It could be a little longer, maybe an inch or so, but then still, it goes up to here. So here is where the bolts end. So couldn't use any longer bolts. And actually the gear set was quite a challenge, because in the beginning I was using just wood and that didn't work. I mean, they crumbled away under the huge torque of the motor here. So this now actually is a side plate made from aluminum. It's aluminum here. And there's another one on the other side, and in between there's a total of 18 millimeter of plywood twice. So it's actually that thick. And the outer 8 millimeter, total 60 millimeter, is aluminum, and this holds. Same for the sled here. And then of course there's this heavyweight here, which kind of is hard to balance, but I solved it simply by putting the ground plate a little bit to the front and to the left here, so that it's still very stable. As you see, it's not a problem at all. And once it's fixed mounted, it's not a problem. It's actually not even fixed mounted. You can lift this off. It actually stands on the table. Did I destroy the beautiful motor? No, actually I haven't changed it in any way. I just mounted it, so I can simply set it back to the original condition without any changes. I have all the other parts, and maybe I'll end up doing that. Maybe I'll end up selling it on eBay, because I don't need an e-bike. I have a car, a truck. So I hope you like this, because I'm in love with it. I love everything that is full auto, and now to have all this awesome power on the flick of a thumb, it's just amazing to me. Wouldn't you agree? So much fun. Okay, 2 more just for you. And in the last shot, our paracord string rip. Did you see that? What a great way to end the movie. Thanks and bye-bye. Wow. Poor Corona zombie.